when two legends cross paths again, Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo. Have you ever imagined what could happen if two of the most admired stars in Asian entertainment unexpectedly received the same mysterious invitation on the very same day? Imagine a forgotten movie studio reopening its doors after many years, hiding a screenplay so extraordinary that every director in the industry believed it could become the greatest fictional drama ever created. Stay until the very end, because this story is filled with breathtaking discoveries, emotional reunions, unforgettable adventures, and a final twist that will leave you eagerly waiting for the next chapter. If you love emotional K-drama-inspired stories packed with mystery, hope, and cinematic magic, subscribe to KDramaHavenn, because every story begins with imagination and every ending leads to another unforgettable journey. The first light of dawn stretched across the skyline as one of the oldest film studios quietly awakened after years of silence. Dust floated through beams of golden sunlight. Old cameras rested beneath protective covers. Beautiful movie posters from fictional classics decorated the long hallways. Every room carried memories of remarkable stories that had once inspired millions. The studio had remained closed for many years. Now its doors were opening once again. The new director believed the building still held one final masterpiece waiting to be discovered. Deep inside the original writer's room stood a magnificent wooden cabinet that had never been opened. Its brass handle reflected the morning light. The director carefully unlocked the cabinet. Inside rested an elegant leather portfolio covered in fine dust. Across the front appeared only 3 handwritten words. The final journey. Nobody knew who had written the screenplay. No names appeared anywhere inside the pages. Only an unforgettable story waiting to be told. The director spent the entire evening reading every chapter. The fictional adventure followed 2 accomplished artists brought together by destiny after discovering a forgotten collection of journals hidden beneath an ancient lighthouse. Every journal described ordinary people whose courage transformed entire communities through kindness, creativity, and hope. The director immediately knew the story deserved extraordinary performers. Invitations quietly arrived for Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo. Neither knew the other had received the mysterious letter. Several days later, they entered the restored studio from opposite hallways. The director welcomed them warmly before placing the screenplay upon the old wooden table. The room became completely silent. The first script reading began. Every conversation between the fictional characters carried wisdom. Every page revealed breathtaking discoveries. Every chapter encouraged audiences to believe that even forgotten dreams can return to life when the right people choose to protect them. The writers smiled quietly. The actors became completely absorbed in the fictional world unfolding before them. Only weeks later, filming officially began. The first location overlooked a peaceful seaside village where waves gently rolled toward the shore beneath brilliant morning skies. The fictional characters discovered an abandoned lighthouse filled with forgotten journals and unfinished paintings. Each journal belonged to someone who had once dreamed of changing the world through storytelling. Every discovery revealed another emotional lesson. The journey continued through breathtaking mountain valleys where ancient trees stood beside crystal-clear rivers. The fictional characters met musicians whose melodies had been forgotten by time, artists whose paintings had never been displayed, writers whose unfinished stories still waited to inspire another generation. Together they promised to complete every forgotten dream they found along the way. As the fictional adventure continued, the bond between the two characters grew stronger through trust, courage, and a shared purpose. Their greatest mission was never about fame. It was about preserving hope for people they had never even met. Months passed. The fictional movie finally reached its breathtaking conclusion. The restored lighthouse became a magnificent museum where every forgotten journal, painting, photograph, and melody found a new home. Children from many different countries arrived carrying notebooks filled with fresh ideas. Young filmmakers held cameras for the very first time. Artists painted beneath the warm afternoon sun. Musicians performed joyful melodies that echoed across the sea. The fictional characters watched quietly from the lighthouse balcony. They smiled as they realized that every forgotten dream had become the beginning of countless new dreams. The grand premiere finally arrived. The magnificent theater welcomed audiences from around the world. Every seat was filled. The lights slowly dimmed. As the fictional movie ended, the audience remained completely silent. For several long moments, nobody moved. Then the entire theater rose together for an unforgettable standing ovation. The applause echoed through every corner of the building. The director stepped onto the stage, carrying the original leather portfolio. He gently opened the final page. Written there in elegant handwriting was one unforgettable sentence. The greatest stories are never measured by how many people remember them. They are measured by how many new dreams they inspire. The audience applauded louder than ever before. The lights slowly faded. One final image appeared across the giant screen. The restored lighthouse stood peacefully beneath a golden sunrise. Inside the highest room rested another unopened journal upon a wooden desk. Its first page remained blank, waiting patiently for another dreamer to write the next unforgettable adventure. The screen slowly turned black. One final message appeared. Every ending protects another beginning. Every dream deserves another chance. Every story waits for someone brave enough to tell it. The standing ovation inside the magnificent theater continued long after the final scene disappeared from the giant screen. Nobody wanted the evening to end. Every guest remained seated beneath the glowing lights as though another unforgettable chapter was waiting just beyond the curtain. The director slowly returned to the stage carrying the same leather portfolio that had introduced the fictional journey many months earlier. The audience became completely silent. He gently placed the portfolio upon a polished wooden table beneath a warm golden spotlight. For several quiet moments, he simply looked at it before speaking. He explained that during the final week of filming, an extraordinary discovery had been made inside the old lighthouse, where much of the fictional story had taken place. While carefully restoring one of the upper rooms, the production team found a hidden compartment beneath an ancient wooden floor. Inside rested another journal that nobody had expected to find. The audience leaned forward with excitement. Behind the director, the giant screen slowly revealed photographs of the remarkable discovery. The journal appeared beautifully preserved despite the passing years. Its pages were filled with elegant handwriting, unfinished sketches, and breathtaking illustrations of places that seemed almost too beautiful to exist. The fictional production designers had recreated many of those locations without ever realizing they closely resembled the forgotten drawings. The audience watched in amazement. The director carefully opened the journal. The first page carried a simple sentence. Every dream forgotten by one generation quietly waits for another generation to discover it. The room became completely silent. Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo stepped onto the stage beside the director. They explained how reading those fictional pages had inspired several emotional scenes that were added during the final weeks of filming. Those scenes became some of the audience's favorite moments after the premiere. The applause echoed throughout the theater. Later that evening, everyone traveled to the restored lighthouse for one final celebration. Hundreds of lanterns illuminated the pathways leading toward the sea. Soft music drifted through the evening air. Families, artists, writers, musicians, and young filmmakers gathered together to celebrate imagination and storytelling. The lighthouse doors slowly opened. Visitors climbed the winding staircase until they reached the highest room overlooking the peaceful ocean. At the center of the room stood the beautifully restored wooden desk. The mysterious journal rested exactly where it had first been discovered. Beside it lay a blank notebook. A small handwritten card invited every visitor to write one dream they hoped would inspire someone else in the future. Throughout the evening, the notebook slowly filled with heartfelt messages. Some dreamed of directing unforgettable movies. Others hoped to become musicians, painters, actors, teachers, or writers. Every page reflected courage. Every sentence carried hope. The director quietly smiled. He realized the fictional journey had already begun creating another generation of storytellers. As midnight approached, the stars filled the sky above the calm sea. The lighthouse beams slowly swept across the horizon. The audience gathered outside beneath the glowing light. Without warning, a young child approached carrying a weathered envelope discovered inside an old bookshelf. Across the front appeared 5 handwritten words. for the next great storyteller. The director carefully opened it. Inside rested a beautifully folded map showing hidden locations scattered across mountains, forests, quiet villages, and ancient libraries. Each place marked another unfinished story waiting to be discovered. The audience gasped with excitement. The director smiled warmly. He looked toward the crowd before quietly saying that perhaps every ending simply points toward another remarkable beginning. The audience erupted into applause. As dawn slowly appeared above the horizon, the lighthouse shone brighter than ever. The blank notebook rested upon the old wooden desk. Its pages were no longer empty. They carried hundreds of dreams from people who believed imagination could change the world. The camera slowly pulled away from the lighthouse. The peaceful waves reflected the first golden light of morning. The music became softer. The screen gradually faded into darkness. One final sentence appeared. Every dream shared becomes another light for someone still searching for hope. Every forgotten promise becomes another unforgettable adventure. And every remarkable story begins with one person brave enough to turn the very first page. To be continued.